Happy Tuesday night. How are everyone? Good evening, everybody. Howdy, friends and floor heads. It is time to play The Zone, which is a storyteller game in the tradition of, say, Fiasco or For the Queen. We've played it twice already on the stream. I really enjoy this game. And part of it is it makes it very easy to play it online. So you can see in the lower right corner of your screen right now where you can go and play this for free. There is a rumor that Raph, who created this game, is also going to be doing a Kickstarter in the coming months. So watch out for that. And you can also look for my interview with Raph coming out here in the next couple of weeks, where we talk about how this game was made. One thing that's neat is Vic, Corey, and Jim have never played before, but
I was on your stream playing this game.
Oh my God, this is the second time you've played, Jim. Oh my God, it was so memorable. Oh, that's right. I forgot you were on that one. All right, so Jim's played. Corey and Vic haven't. But if you ever watched the channel, you know Corey from Deadlands. You know Vic from several different appearances. Probably my favorite being on Fear itself, though. So what's neat is we're going to walk through and we're going to learn how to play the game together, and we're going to get going. So I will start off by reading the first screen. Welcome, players. The goal of this game is to tell a weird, magical, realist horror story of mutation and self-discovery. A story about people who risk everything for an obsession. A story where only one will make it to the end. Vic, you want to start reading?
Sure. There it goes. Welcome, volunteers. I know you've all been wondering what the Zone really is and if the rumors are true. As the 14th expedition, you deserve to know what we know. It's not a lot, but it may help you. It all started with the anomalies. Locals calling in to talk radio or visiting their doctors with stories of unseasonal weather, impossible objects, half sightings of unknown creatures, claimed conversations with long dead loved ones. People disappeared. Medical notes describe bodies that started changing. We initiated special containment procedures, performed tests on those who refused to evacuate. Then, as if reacting to our attention, the boundary appeared and isolated everything and everyone within an area of several square miles. We don't know if there are still survivors or if they're still human. You want me to keep going?
No, let's have Corey read.
All right.
Okay. Since that moment, not a single expedition has returned. All lose contact minutes after leaving visual range. We're going on fragments, rumors, and occasional anomalies that seep beyond the boundary. We don't know what the Zone wants, or if it wants. It seems to be a mirror. It manifests whatever phobias, obsessions, and memories you bring into it. The Zone brings them to life to test you.
Yep.
No, we keep going or switch over to Jim. Okay. There are rumors that the Zone can grant your deepest wish if it deems you worthy. Sensor readings show something incredibly powerful at its heart. Perhaps the only escape is the center itself. You are the 14th expedition. You'll almost certainly not return. Good hunting, but prepare to die. The Federal Bureau of Coherence, without admitting liability, thanks you for accepting this mission.
All right, that ends the mission briefing. All right, next. This is a collaborative storytelling game. You want to read 1, 2, and 3 for us, Jim?
Sure. Number 1, we're telling a movie. This game is a series of scenes which we can choose to play in as much or as little detail as we want, describing or acting out what the characters are doing. Scenes can be as short as a couple minutes, but are usually about 5 minutes or so. The game will last about as long as a movie. Number 2, we will take turns being the director. There is no GM. We take turns as directors setting up and ending scenes, and we all share a few key moves that anyone can trigger at any time to help the story along. No one will be forced to be on the spot for long. We're each in charge of our characters, but share responsibility for everything else. Number 3, we will play to lose. We are not competing with each other. That's why our fates are secretly decided at the start, so we can focus on creating not so easy situations which characters will always take the bait on and suffer the consequences. You don't know those moments that you know those moments that you have yelling, "Don't go in there," or "Don't touch that" at your favorite horror film, this is the entire game.
Right. So this is the board. It's a shared space. Unless explicitly stated otherwise, we can all see roughly the same things on our screens. If there's something only you can see, it will say only you are seeing this. This spiral of cards represents the zone. Each card is a location the expedition will go through on their way to journey into the zone. The game starts at the zone observation facility, which is right outside the boundary. Once inside, you cannot backtrack. In each location, we will do a few scenes. Expect to do 2 or 3 scenes in each location, fewer as we get closer to the center. 1 turn equals 1 scene. There are no stats or dice rolls in this game. Whenever a character tries to do something that seems like it would be not so easy for them, anyone can force them to pull a not so easy card. Not so easy cards have bittersweet outcomes that advance the story, like yes, but and no, and most of them will trigger a mutation. Trigger them often. Our fates are predetermined by fate cards. The characters in the fate card must die in the scene when it is revealed, unless another player sacrifices their own character. You cannot die before your fate card, so take risks. When your character dies, you keep playing as the zone, setting up scenes as usual, with nothing to distract you from making things weird, magical, and horrible for the survivors. The game ends at the center. This is the innermost part of the zone where the final player will ask to grant or free them from their obsession. The remaining players embody the zone and decide the survivor's final fate. A quick level set. This is a horror game, so it must be fun when we take our characters way out of our comfort zones while taking excellent care if we, the humans, are playing them. We are going to be using the X card. If someone comes up in the story and we'd rather we didn't, we can press the X card button. Atmospheric silence. There will be times a player is pondering a question, helping them feel so irresistible. But we won't give in. Sometimes folks need a little time to think, and the creepiest horrors need their time to gestate. Hell yeah or no? We each have ironclad authority over our characters, and when setting scenes up as a director, it's still fun to suggest ideas and yes and a lot, but no pressure. If it's not an obvious hell yeah, then no need to push it. The players are more important than the game. That take care of the real humans first, my friends. That let's be excellent to each other. All right, so here we can do a quick level set. We can decide how much we want as far as rating is concerned. When rating what rating shall our movie have? Indicate with your glowing cursor. Mutations and death is core to the zone, but the way it is told could be as much blood-soaked B movie as magical realist Spirited Away. Are there horror or other reference points which we're excited to see in this game? Is there any content that we'd like to avoid? That's what the X card is for. All right, let's choose characters. Each character has an obsession, a phobia, and a reason they cannot go back to their old life. All these characters share one thing. They know the zone will almost certainly kill them, but believe it is worth it to fulfill their obsession. All right, so here is our characters. I will pick last. Each one of you take a quick look and choose which character you'd like. Who's picking first? All right, pick it.
I gotta be the surgeon.
What are you thinking, Vic?
I'm thinking either the writer or the bureaucrat. I'm not sure yet. I'm reading them.
How about you, Jim?
I'm thinking about the scientist. If I click him, will it let me read him? It sure will.
Well, seeing he's not in play, I think I will choose the entrepreneur. All right, so I'm going to name my character. All right, and then now it's asking me, are you certain that the only center of the zone can satisfy your obsession? My obsession is... what is my obsession? Let's see, I can choose to pick. Okay. All right, I'm going to choose one of the ones on the pick list. You have a phobia that you hope the zone won't manifest. It definitely will. You are terrified of... All right, I've picked my phobia. This is probably a one-way trip, but you're going anyway because you cannot go back to... Okay, I've got that done. I'm finished editing. All right. So I have filled mine out. So Vic, Corey, and Jim are filling theirs out. Hey, McBluff. And they have a very similar screen. You guys can see my screen, obviously, on the stream, but they're looking at the same thing as they're filling theirs out. Jim, what's your favorite horror movie?
You know, I'm not a huge horror movie guy, I'll admit. I don't know that I could pick a favorite. It's not really my genre, generally speaking.
Well, that makes a so what's a horror movie that you enjoyed then? It's knowing it's not your genre.
Gosh, I don't know. What'd you say? Shauna says Chucky.
That's fair.
which is pretty fun.
How about you, Corey?
The Ring is another good one.
Oh, The Ring is a good one.
Ooh, probably The Thing. I know that's what everybody says, but The Thing.
That's a good pick, man. Yeah, The Thing is right up there with me. I'm also a huge Halloween fan. Original Halloween.
Did you see Halloween Kills?
I did not.
Okay, I had mixed feelings about it.
Yeah, I saw the redo that Rob Zombie did. It was horrible. It was terrible, embarrassing.
So there's the new Halloween, which is a direct sequel to the first one, to the actual first Halloween movie.
Gotcha.
And then this is a sequel to that sequel.
The secret, secret pleasure I have is I actually liked Season of the Witch, which I think was like Halloween 3, which had nothing to do with Michael Myers.
Yes. I think that one's gotten sort of a reevaluation.
Yeah.
Because
yeah. It's pretty creepy. How about you, Vic? Do you have a favorite?
Movie?
Horror movie, scary movie.
Horror movie?
All the way for Jim.
Gosh. It Follows was really good.
I don't know if I've seen that. What is that?
That's such a good one.
Doug and I watched it recently. It's the one where it's basically a sexually transmitted horror that will chase you down and kill you and then go back to trying to kill the person who gave it to you.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah.
We're going to have fun in this game.
It walks. It can't run. It just walks at a constant pace.
Yeah. It's kind of like the you're immortal, but there's one snail that can kill you and it is also immortal. Yeah. But
that's pretty good. All right. So one by one, let's introduce our characters to each other. Corey, let's start with you. Dr. Dennis
Cinnabis.
Okay.
Yes.
Tell me about the doctor.
Yeah, so Dr. Dennis Cinnabis is what some people would consider a disgraced surgeon, but he would consider himself just past their petty concerns. He's been an experimental surgeon for some time. Again, people seem to have some issues with the phrase experimental surgeon. And so he's decided to enter into the zone to satisfy his obsession that he's uh, the greatest mind, the greatest surgeon, the greatest of everything in the world. That being said, he has a terrible phobia of parasites because they represent an impurity within himself, and he has entered into the zone because they have really insisted on taking away his license, which sort of takes away his purpose.
Gotcha. All right. Next up, Vic, I want to hear about Nora.
Excuse me. So I chose the bureaucrat, Nora Swanson, the career suit. First entrusted with containing the zone, you studied it, secretly orchestrated dozens of clinical experiments on the locals to assess the risk. Now you've been cut off from them. You need to know what happened to them and the risk it poses to the rest of the world. She's certain that only the center of the zone can satisfy her obsession, which is to see for herself. She sent so many in, she needs to see it for herself.
Nice.
She just has this urge to understand, I guess. The phobia is tiny threats, too small to see. They can get under your skin. I'm hoping this manifests as some sort of bug. Doug is in physical pain.
And why can't you go back, Vic?
I can't go back because I just can't live not knowing and understanding what the zone is and what threat it poses to the rest of humanity.
All right, I'm going to quickly introduce everybody to Jason Musk. No relation. You're an iconoclast engineer who has made billions revolutionizing pharmaceuticals, energy, and many other fields. You learned of the zone through your deep network and pockets and managed to get yourself added to the expedition where money is to be made. Now, my obsession is longevity. The one thing that I cannot buy is more time. My phobia is ridicule. They laugh behind your back. And the reason I can't go back is because I have got pending several charges for insider trading as well as embezzling from my companies. All right, last but not least, I'd like to hear about a second doctor on the expedition.
Yeah, this is Dr. Kynes, the scientist. He's a distinguished scientist responsible for a number of key breakthroughs in his prolific early career. But he followed his theory to more creative fringes, and the academic field he once dominated has rejected him as a fraud and a huckster. His obsession is to complete his master theory. He needs that last bit of inspiration. His phobia is stasis, trapped between life and death, unable to do either. And the reason he cannot go back is that he has taken mob money for several projects and cannot actually repay them.
It's basically, you're basically a Spider-Man villain.
Yeah.
All right, so we've introduced our characters. All right, so we start at the observation facility. So I'm going to hit start us off. Oh, we'll cancel. No. All right, so yeah, claim. All right. Oh, wait, hold on a second. Corey, so go ahead and hit start us off.
So, all right.
All right, the director defines the location. Each location has 3 different variants. Everyone can see this, but only the director gets to pick. Now read them to yourself and choose the one that feels right to you. So, Corey, which of those 3 are you going to go with?
I think I like the field tents, sandbags, and portable scientific equipment in the rugged no man's land around the zone, moved often to stay out of the boundaries expansion.
So let's get a scene prompt.
Okay. The night before, everyone shares rumors. Practice asking questions.
So set the scene for us, Corey.
There are three parts to a scene. Sure, sure. So I think this is a relatively nice camp. I think people have probably seen a lot of these sorts of camps, similar ones in refugee areas or around uh, various natural disasters. But this definitely has some better scientific equipment and well-armed troops. But it has to be constantly mobile in response to the moving boundary of the zone. Um, that being said, I think the four of us have been introduced to each other and are seated around in the mess tent, gossiping and discussing what could be inside and what we hope to find in there.
So I'm imagine. Oh, go ahead, Corey.
So I think
So I was gonna say,
No,
I'm
no, please,
imagining
please, go ahead.
Jason. I was one of the last ones that came in. Of course, I'm on my cell phone as I'm walking into the camp, and a soldier has taken my phone, and I see the three of you sitting there, and I kind of quickly size all three of you up, and I turn to Nora, and I say, "Excuse me, do you work here?"
Technically, yes.
Okay, so they're telling me I can't bring my cell phone in.
No, you cannot bring your cell phone in.
Well, that's silliness. I mean, obviously we're going to want to take pictures. I can take pictures with this. Now, of course, this is a model you haven't seen yet. This is coming out next year, but I think it's much better if I take my phone with me.
Do you want it to turn into some horrifying spider monstrosity?
No.
Is that something that happens?
It's the zone. It could.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah. You, and I flag over one of the soldiers. Here. Yeah, put it in a bag. Put it in a bag. And I sit down. So tell me about the spiders. Who knows about the spiders?
I haven't heard of this. You're the scientist. You tell him about it.
I've heard that many things have morphed and changed into all sorts of different items. Not quite insects, but very, very similar.
And how are you getting your information? How do you know about this?
Let's say that certain soldiers have loose tongues and will gossip about anything.
Any advice for us, Miss Nora?
Advice?
Yeah, you work here. I assume you're the tour guide?
Not quite. I've been working on containing the zone and studying it for a long time. Advice? Don't die.
Now, Corey, you're the director, so
That shouldn't
I'm
be-
sorry. At any point, you can end the scene or continue it, so you have control over starting and ending it.
Sure. So it says in this case, I should end the scene when the prompt is resolved, and in this case, it's when everyone has shared a rumor. So I think we've had. I would like to just share one quick rumor is that Dr. Sinbis has been kind of leaning back, kind of rolling his eyes every once in a while as the other three talk, and he kind of leans forward and he says, "I heard that some of the things got through the boundary and have spectacular capabilities. One of the I slipped a bottle of scotch to one of the pathologists, and he told me that some of the organs show remarkable capabilities. I think this is a possibility for a breakthrough, don't you, Dr.
Oh,
Cochran?
certainly. Many things can be learned here.
Well, more to the point, it's a possible personal breakthrough, and I think that it would be great to have all of you as second author, third author, fourth author on whatever I publish, and I'll make sure to mention you in my award speech.
I think attempting to use this in that way is a terrible idea.
That's what I would expect from small-minded bureaucrats.
Yeah, I'll be very interested what you find, and
No
I
offense.
can let you know I've got seed money.
Yes. I think you and I are going to be fast friends, Mr. Musk. I think that's a pretty good place to end it, unless anybody else any
No,
other
I'm good.
rumors they want to share.
Let's click end scene.
All right.
All right, Vic, you become the next director.
Alrighty. I guess we're moving to the boundary.
All right, go ahead and read it for us.
Time to enter the boundary. The crossing will be split into 3 short scenes, one for each of the 3 key moves. Before we start the first scene, we'll do a quick overview of all 3 moves. Take stock. Starting with you, every player adds a sensory detail about the scene: sight, sound, touch, smell, taste, or how your character feels. You can skip yourself if you don't have anything in mind. When everyone has spoken, return to collaborative storytelling. Read this example out loud.
You don't have to worry about that. So second move is something's not right. The person who triggered the move says something's not right and what they think it might be wrong. Another person says it's worse than that and describes how. This is the best part of the game, by the way. The player who said something's not right incorporates the escalation and the storytelling continues. Go ahead, Vic. Yeah. Jim, you want to read us Not So Easy?
Sure. And the third move is Not So Easy. When someone describes their character doing something not so easy, interrupt by triggering this move. Anyone can say it. You could even call it on yourself. The person trying to do the thing restates what they wanted to happen, then draws a Not So Easy card to find out if it does. The player then weaves the outcome and its complications, usually a mutation, into the story, and play continues.
All right. All right, so Vic, you get to choose the boundary scene. I'm really excited when this we get the physical version of this. I think that it's neat the way that you shuffle the cards up and stuff. It's obviously super convenient to do it online, but I will be anxious to get a physical copy so we can play it at the campsite, Jim.
Mm-hmm. And I like this idea that our fates are already out there. So
and you don't know which card is yours.
Right.
So we don't know who's in the middle that's going to survive. Are you doing eeny, meeny, miny, mo, Vic?
Yes.
All right, set the scene.
The boundary is psychological. It manifests only in your minds, triggering thoughts and memories.
Right, get a scene prompt.
The expedition sees the boundary for the first time, but does not cross yet.
All right, so now is where we take stock, Vic. So as we are crossing the boundary, we can let you start. So you'll give us a detail as we're crossing the boundary as part of your take stock, and then Corey, and then Jim, and then I will.
As the group approaches the boundary, it doesn't so much look different as feel different. There's a static in the air. And your skin just kind of starts to crawl.
Corey?
All right. Oh, so Dr. Sinbis sort of pauses and he kind of looks at them and he says, what's that annoying music? Where's that even coming from? It's like it's the worst sound. I remember growing up with this broken ice cream truck driving down the streets. It drove me nuts whenever I was trying to read. It sounds just like that. Do you hear that?
I can hear a radio. I can hear. It sounds like ABBA, but it's pretty distant. So I'm not sure what kind of ice cream truck you're talking about.
No. You're definitely wrong. It's not ABBA. It's off key. No.
Sort of like an
No.
out of tune calliope organ?
I guess that's close, but no, it's definitely an ice cream truck. What you're hearing it then?
I'm hearing something.
Huh.
Jim?
I think that Dr. Kynes here, it's the smell of this place. It, like you said, the static you feel, it's the ozone in the air is what you start to, that sort of, burning air smell, but not fire. And it's just very, very strange. Almost as if the area were struck by lightning or inside I want to say Dyson sphere, but I don't know if that's actually the thing. That's what I'm going with.
So as I'm following, just kind of trying to take in all of this information that you guys are sharing, I'm definitely not hearing. I'm definitely hearing like an AM radio station playing 70s music, but it's very, very faint. And I don't think I would have noticed it unless the doctor had mentioned it. But what I do notice is how vivid the colors are. So as we're kind of working our way through kind of the tall grass as we're crossing through the boundary towards the center, the green is greener. The sky looks bluer. The clouds look puffier than they did just a few moments ago. And I think you're going to see me almost compulsively touching things. So as I go by tree branches, I touch the leaves, and you see me like touch some of the grass as we're passing through, picking up rocks and looking at them, setting them down, like this compulsion, I'm drawn to try to touch things. All right, Vic, you are in control.
Oh, were we supposed to hit this button? Oh, no.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So you can end scene or you can keep going. Vic, it's up to you.
You should maybe not be touching things.
But look how pretty they are. It's, I don't know. It's hard to describe. I mean, like, look at this leaf, and I show you this leaf, and I said, look, it's not even fall yet. And do you see the colors? All the reds and the yellows, and it's amazing. It reminds me of like stuff I took in college, and I don't know. It's like looking at a Beatles song.
Jason, brightly colored things are often toxic.
It feels fine.
That's your prerogative.
Just a small piece of advice. Once we get further in, that could be really bad, but
Okay, Worry Wart.
it's my job to worry.
Did that help on the first 13 expeditions?
I wasn't there.
Neither was I, so I'm sure it will be much more successful.
I'm going to go ahead and end the scene then.
Perfect.
Unless anybody has. Okay.
Oh, it is my turn.
Craig's turn.
All right, I'm going to do another scene in the boundary. The expedition starts to cross the boundary but something's not right. So I'm going to use the something's not right. The person who triggers the move says something's not right and what they think it might be wrong. Another player says it's worse than that. And then the player who said something's not right incorporates the escalation. So as we're walking, I keep touching things, which I'm imagining is obviously, I know it's making Nora nervous. But
Just waiting for you to grab a snake or something.
as we're walking through, I'm noticing that as vivid as the colors were, it's now transitioning in something's not right, because now it's more like everything's sepia colored, like drawn out. So who's gonna?
It's worse than that. It's as we're watching, we actually see some sort of glowing ball, kind of transitioning along the space that we're watching, and it actually seems to be draining away the color. That sepia, it seems like it actually, this seems to be feeding off of it, and as we watch it sucking up the color, it actually starts to expand, not much but noticeably, getting slightly bigger and bigger, just rolling through the air, and the colors that it drains sort of circle around it almost like it's a black hole, but it's bright white.
And I stop immediately when I see this and just see the colors pulling. I'm looking to the three of you, giving you a "you're seeing this right" face.
Maybe put down the brightly colored leaf, Mr. Musk.
Yeah, but Dr. Cochran, have you seen anything like that before?
I haven't, and I begin to fiddle in my satchel for a spectrograph to see if I can determine if there's anything going on with the colors themselves. This thing doesn't seem to be working. I can't get it to, the reading's not quite right.
You're doing it wrong. I don't know how, but you're doing something wrong.
Well, that's just nonsense.
All right, I'm going to end the scene.
Jim,
you got the third scene.
All right, I'm going to start my turn. I'm going to do another scene in the boundary. And let's see. There's one final obstacle before making it into the zone. Use not so easy in this scene. Let's see. The cards are the heart of this game. Blah, 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 blah. What is not so easy? Okay. What is the final obstacle before making it to the zone?
And any of us can add details, right? Anybody can do a take stock and add details. So I'll start that way. So as we're walking, this ball is staying ahead of us, right? And it's just drawing us towards it, but it's pulling the colors out of everything, the scenery in this forest, kind of grassland area that we're in. And eventually we see it start to like unfold itself like origami into almost like a thin paper barrier that now is presenting almost like a domed force field in front of us.
And I think as we push towards it, I imagine that everything starts to feel a little heavier. So it becomes a bit more arduous to push as we start to reach that paper barrier.
I think as we are walking towards it, that sound that we heard, the either ABBA music, the Calliope, or the broken ice cream truck, it starts getting more in tune, and it actually starts being less tinny, and actually starts turning into, in each person's head, a beautiful, or maybe not in everybody's head, maybe they're actually hearing it, some sort of beautiful operatic song almost, or perhaps a symphony.
So I'm going to do a something's not right. That that singing. It's something's not right. It's coming from like I'm not hearing it in my ears. I'm hearing it inside my head. Are you hearing it too?
It's worse than that. I'm not hearing it from inside my head. I'm hearing it from inside
What do you
your
mean?
head.
That doesn't make any sense. What do you mean you're hearing it from inside my head?
I can't explain it. It's almost like it's in my head, but I can tell directionally it's coming from you. You're the source of it. Sit still. Maybe I can just do a quick examination of you. It's probably
Do you still have your
nothing.
license before you
and
touch me?
I don't see how that's relevant. Stand still. And the doctor takes out both a magnifying glass and a scalpel and is steadily approaching Musk.
Okay, I'm going to play the not so easy card. So I'm playing. So you're approaching with the scalpel and the magnifying glass. I do a not so easy. So the player doing the not so easy thing clicks here to draw a card.
But first, you're going to state what you wanted to happen.
I click not so easy. Okay, so I think what I wanted to do was do a very thorough inspection of Jason Musk, but I'm not very. My bedside manner leaves a little bit to be desired. So yes, and the zone mutates me in a small but noticeable way. So I think I managed to get my hand on Jason, and I go, oh, this is easy. This is the source of it. And he reached up and he grabs. Though he'd been complaining about Jason doing that, he found a seed pod or something, and he grabs it, and then he goes and drops it. And briefly, there are small needles in his fingers that he used to touch it, and then they immediately suck into his skin, and he just goes wide-eyed, and his hands kind of twitching on. And it's like I'm not doing that.
Do you
I'm
think
not
any of
doing
us
that.
noticed?
I'm not doing that. I think he's freaking out enough that I mean he's saying yes, it's very noticeable that he's saying I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this.
Backing away now.
Where did you find that on me? And I'm kind of backing away from you too.
It was on the side of your head. Didn't you feel it?
And I don't. There was nothing on the side of my head, and
it's where the sound was coming from.
Yeah. I'm going to be over here because I don't know what is going on with you right now.
Oh, okay. Okay, it just needed it needed to calm down a little bit. It's okay. It's okay. We have an agreement now.
An agreement.
Yeah.
I'm going to kind of whisper in your ear, Sharon. Is there like any type of screening process that you guys go through, or just? I know I paid a lot of money to get on this thing, but how does something like that get in here?
That would be a question for HR.
Great. Fantastic.
I know.
We must press on.
I know there's a criminal background check, but this isn't criminal, just weird.
You are the director, Jim.
I am the director. So I think what it's time to do is it's time to finally push our way through this paper barrier and into the zone. And we will end this scene as we do so.
All right, Corey.
All right. So we have I think we moved to the first location beyond the boundary.
Sounds good. Go for it.
The next few scenes will be about exploring the zone, developing your characters, and most importantly, being very irresponsible. Remember, you will need not so easy cards for the end game. Have your characters do plenty of things that make it necessary to say not so easy. Mutations await. All right. So the expedition has arrived at the lab, and I will decide what form it takes. Ooh. I think I have to do the testing center. Instruments, eye exams, child growth charts, wooden toys, countless carefully labeled objects you don't recognize.
All right, set the scene for us, director.
All right. The environment itself does something to help a character succeed.
So we cross through the barrier, and what do we see?
We crossed through the barrier, and I think we were all expecting something much more dramatic since we went through something that had sucked away the light. And I think we're all briefly blinded, but then we find ourselves in front of what looks like just a pediatrician's office. It's got, I think everybody's seen those sorts of things where there are poorly drawn versions of popular cartoon characters on windows.
Not
and,
licensed.
There's, yeah, exactly.
Mickey Mouse.
There's a Garfield. Yeah. There's a Bugs Bunny. And I think we're out there, and it's back to being maybe a little bit dull, but kind of maybe a city color. And the door's open. There's a doorstop in it, and there's nobody inside, but there seem to be toys, and it just seems to be a waiting room, and it seems to be inviting. And Sinbis says, "Well, I suppose we ought to find some records. Do you suppose that's a good place to start?"
I mean, you two are the doctors.
If nothing else, it'll be a record of what happened. So
Now, Ms. Swanson, was there a pediatric? There was a pediatrician's office in there, correct? What I never read the file. I didn't need to. But,
I mean, it was a reasonably sized town before the zone arrived. So I assume there would be a pediatrician's office.
Huh.
I need to take stock as this conversation is happening. What I'd like everybody to notice is as soon as the doctor mentioned, this is where we'll find the records. It wasn't there a second ago, and now it is. We see file cabinets that line the far wall. That was just a blank wall before.
Huh.
Those weren't there a moment ago.
Very
No,
interesting.
but it's convenient.
And I'll begin to go towards them and say, perhaps some of the early studies of the early mutations are outlined here. This lab looks like it has the equipment to do so. And so I'll begin to file through and see if there is anything I can find on any sort of information of that ilk in these. Oh dear.
Not so easy.
Player doing the not so easy thing.
So
what is it I'm trying? What is it I wanted to happen? I believe I wanted to find some additional information about some testing or some early information about what was going on in the zone. Yes, but success immediately triggers a much more serious challenge. Oh dear, if it's a creature, it's not their final form.
So you're going through the file cabinets, and it's not so easy. Yes, but.
So I think I find some information on some early tests that were were done on some of these children, and some of these children were, spawning extra limbs or these sorts of things. And a child that could believed that they could see things that other people weren't seeing. And as that begins to happen, I think we start to hear a bit of a rustling off into the corner, and I'm not sure what it will be, so I'm going to pass and let someone else kind of decide what it might be that's rustling off into the corner.
So
Go for it, Vic.
So we're in the waiting room, right? And there are toys scattered around. It's a group of dolls just standing up, beginning to move towards us.
I'm going to take stock, and
Can I do a?
I'm going to do a quick take stock, which is I'm imagining Jim's character was describing some of these children's and these mutations, and he described like 3 of these children, and we look over, and like he mentioned one kid growing an extra arm. We see one of the dolls has an extra arm, and another one had a third eye in its forehead. And as Jim is describing this, we're not only seeing these dolls come alive, but we're seeing them match the mutations as Jim's character is mentioning them. These could be worth some money.
No.
I mean, they're autonomous. Look at them.
Well, they're small enough. I'm sure that we could. I don't disagree with Mr. Musk. I think if they're small enough, we could certainly take one, and the anatomical additions certainly seem like they would be worthwhile to investigate.
We shouldn't profit off of this. They
come,
clearly
Mr.
need
Musk,
help. I'm going to go try pick one up.
That's not mutually
That's a
exclusive.
doll. It doesn't.
We can profit as we help.
I'm going to go try to pick one up.
Oh, I think not so easy to pick one up, right?
All right, so Vic, you go to try to pick one up.
Okay. Oh boy. No, and the zone mutates you in a way that triggers someone else's phobia. If no one else is left, it triggers yours. What is everyone's phobias?
So you can click away from this.
Just dismiss here?
Yep. And then you can click on our characters, and you should be able to look at our phobias.
Parasites. Ridicule. Okay, that's...
So you go to pick up the doll.
These are rough. Y'all,
your phobia does not line up with dolls, Craig.
most of y'all's phobias are not physical things, so it's boy.
So I'll volunteer for my phobia.
Your phobia?
Yeah. What if the doll starts talking?
Oh dear. Well, this has to be a mutation on me that triggers somebody's phobia, according to the card.
That's true. Yep.
I think I'm going to go with Corey's phobia with parasites. And as I go to pick up the doll, the second I make contact, just tiny little mouths with itty bitty teeth in them start opening on the backs of my hands.
Oh.
Oh God.
Did you just tell us not to touch things?
Oh, and you didn't.
Oh God. Oh God.
Oh, and you listened so well. Said through screens.
Oh God.
All I know is that there's 2 of us that have normal hands, and then there's 2 of you that have pins in your hand and tiny mouths in the other one.
This one's friendly.
Oh, this is gross.
So I'm gonna grab. I'm gonna grab a bag. Vic,
Staring at the backs of her hands now.
If you still have, do you still have the doll in your hand?
Yes.
All right, I've grabbed a trash bag. I've pulled it out of a trash bin and I've kind of got the bag open and I'm just kind of like, just drop it in here and let's see if this makes your hand any better.
Just very carefully drop it into the bag. Oh no.
Who triggered it?
Something's not right.
Okay.
That was me. That trash can hadn't been there moments ago. In fact, we had scanned the room. There was no trash can. There was no trash bag.
Oh, but it's worse than that because as I open the bag up to put it towards Nora, not only was the trash can knocked there, but the bag was empty until I opened it, and you see like 7 or 8 more of those dolls, identical to the one you're holding, Vic, already in the bag.
Join your friends.
And you drop it in there, and I tie it up, tie it in a knot. I say, well, I guess we've started a collection.
I gotta, Craig. I gotta give you not so easy on that one.
All right. So my what I wanted to do is contain the doll, right? So opens up the doll as soon as she starts to throw it in, I see the other dolls and feel the weight drop. And what I'm trying to do is contain these things. So drop the doll in there. I'm going to try to tie a knot and seal these things off. No, and the zone mutates you in a way that triggers someone else's obsession. If no one else is left, it triggers mine. Okay. So I want this. You drop the dolls in there. I go to tie this up, and Jim, what is the master theory that you've been working on?
I think that it is a unified theory around the space of. Oh, that's a great question, Craig. Around the existence of I want to say angels is what I'm going to go with and how they influenced society through sort of this on again off again contact. They may be aliens, they may be etc. etc.
Okay, so the doll gets thrown in there. I'm trying to tie it up, and in the same way that Dr. Dennis was hearing music coming from me, as I'm now tying that up, Jim, you realize that like someone seems to be helping me tie it. And you're seeing for the first time ever in all of your research, just this very faint visage of what looks angelic. So however you have been forming what these angels look like in physical form, it seems to be helping me as I tie it. And it doesn't appear that I have any awareness of this.
Now, you don't actually get to contain them. Is that correct?
Oh, was it a no but?
I thought it was a yes and.
Was it a yes and?
I thought it was.
I think it was a no and. Wait,
okay.
No,
so how about this
and.
then? How about I tie it up, and Jim, you see this angelic creature just come and with a fingernail cuts the bottom of the bag out.
Yeah, and I'm imagining that it was almost like your hands were starting to tie, and then as it sort of wrapped around, it sort of moved them in a way to untie it, and you thought you were going to tie this knot, and then all of a sudden at the end you let go of the bag and they are not tied, and these guys are all now sort of popping free and preparing to do general chaos.
Yeah. I'm not sure what was going on there, and you know what? I don't think I want these things anymore.
Did you not see?
well-
Did you not see the? It's certainly possible. Unbelievable, and I'm not sure what to do with these particular horriblies, though.
So they're not actually doing much right now.
Just kind of laying there.
Just kind of watching.
Something's not right. I think that these, what are there now, 7, 8 little dollies from the trash bag are definitely beginning to stop laying around doing nothing, and they're beginning to get up and rise. And I think that what I'm going to do is take a little bit of a play on Craig's phobia, and they're going to start chattering a bit of mocking tones, things like, "Oh, you never could climb the rope in gym class," and things of that nature. And they just start to just chatter off just these little nitpicky things, and they almost seem random, but to you they're not quite.
It's worse than that, because I think Dr. Sinbis was leading the way because he's brave and definitely not freaked out by the mouths on Nora's hand whatsoever. He's backing up, and he trips over a doll who is now, and we find that there are 2 more blocking the exit to the office. Hello.
Yeah, I'm going to let you guys sort this all out, and I'm immediately heading to the window to get the hell out of here.
I think Dr. Sinbis quietly reaches into his coat pocket and grabs that scalpel that he'd walked over with to Jason with, and he goes, "Everything's okay," and slashes at the doll that is blocking the doorway, and starts making a break for it through the door.
Something's
follow
not right though,
Jason.
because when you slash that doll, it's not doll parts. It feels like meat. And once it's opened, it smells
Oh.
rotting and putrid, and the smell just fills the entire room.
And it's worse than that because the maggots that come out of the rotted guts start crawling up your hand. Holding the scalpel.
Oh, good. He's got that tick.
Oh no!
They'll
No!
just
No! No!
fly
No! No!
right
No!
off.
No! No! No!
It's
No! No!
fine.
No! 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 I think they stop. If I can add this, they actually
nice.
stop right at the wrist, and he's just kind of like, oh, 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 they're friendly. It's okay. They're friendly. He told me that he'll talk to them.
No.
It's okay. It's okay. Don't worry about it. They're friends of his. We're
Now
good.
that the door is cleared, Jason has left the room. I've gone back outside.
No, it's okay. Come on. We can leave now. They just were confused. It's
I think
okay.
I'm gonna maybe tweeze one of those maggots and put it into a sample jar. Oh no!
Careful there. Careful
Not so
there.
easy. Because when you tweeze that maggot, it starts trying to bite.
Oh dear. Oh look, I do get to tweeze the maggot and put it away. Huzzah! The zone mutates you, triggering a much more serious challenge. I'm going to click on this mutation sheet and see what it says here. Oh gosh.
I'll bring it
Find a
up.
body part or emotion with 1 or 2 animal, plant, or material elements to inspire a mutation. Oh, this sounds terrible. I think that as he begins to tweeze, some of the others crawl up quickly and how do I close this guy? What is it? It's supposed to be a much more serious challenge than is this thing. I think that they will just begin to swarm, and he has to they dig in, and sort of he becomes has a maggot infested hand, and they're like sort of burrowing and seething, and
no.
it's one and the same is essentially where we're at, is that his hand and these things are now one.
Oh, God.
And
So we got needle hand, maggot hand, and mouthy hand.
this is all fine,
maggot
right?
hand. Maggot hand is triggering Nora's phobia. God.
I think Dr. Sinbis is not a huge fan of the parasites either.
If it helps, neither is Shauna over to my
they
right.
went into him.
So, and anybody watching can see me. I'm not outside looking in. I'm outside looking in on the window, and all you see is me looking at my totally normal two hands.
With a rock in his pocket. He's fine.
Dr. Sinbis steps out and pats you on the shoulder with his needle hand.
Careful with that. Jesus.
Nora's,
How about going forward, Doc?
Fine,
Like
he
you
says
stop
he's
touching
fine.
me.
Nora's gonna stumble out the front door and vomit to the side.
I think Kynes is on his way out as well, sort of fascinated by the idea that his hand is still functional, but also just
Infested
not
with maggots.
quite normal anymore. But it's still like he can still use it as a hand, and that's sort of just this fascinating, as he wriggles his fingers and it is following out.
Can he see the skin move with the maggots underneath it every time he wiggles his fingers?
I can imagine that it's just they're like finger sized, right, and basically sort of that pulsating,
Ugh.
All right, director, end the scene.
Move on from maggot fingers.
Oh, hey, I'm
that's
sorry.
me.
It was me. I was supposed to be ending the scene. Oh, whoops.
Whoops.
All right, Vic.
Sorry.
Oh gosh.
So just for the sake of time, I'm going to recommend we move to the
Yeah.
office.
Well, I mean, we've already gone outside, so.
So you decide the setting and then set the scene for us
Yep.
as we move to the office.
Charts cover walls and data still streams into specialized displays. Scientific instruments hum. Whatever they tracked here, it was important. Something helps a character see the true potential of a mutation. What mutation, in a character or around you, have you only scratched the surface of? What if this mutation was 10 times stronger?
All right, so set the scene for us, director.
So as we all exit the lab, the office complex is like right beside it, which seems like a weird place for an office park to be next to a pediatrician's office, but whatever. And as we go in, obviously it looks more like a science lab than an actual office. All of the very bright overhead lights are still working somehow. And data streams are still visible on multiple different monitors.
So normally I hire people to read this kind of stuff. Do any of you eggheads know what the hell they're tracking here?
Dr. Cochran?
He begins to look at the screens, and I think that there are some electromagnetic flux readings. There are some other sorts of visible spectrum sorts of things. They're definitely tracking. Oh no.
So something's not right, because as you're looking at like those data streams, there's, the data's coming in and it all seems like it's jumbled, Jim, but the below it there seems to be like a bleep, bleep, bleep line, and you're realizing that it's not only is it perfectly matching like a throbbing feeling that you have in your maggot hand, but you put your finger up to your pulse and it completely matches the pulse. So the pulsating infestation in your hand is matching the pulse, which is now matching the screen that's on the wall.
It's worse than that. That pulsing is speeding up noticeably.
No. Oh no. It seems odd that they would that it would match anything that has to do with me. That's so strange.
Here, let me inspect you. It worked so well last time.
How you doing that, Doc?
I'm going to come over and well, so I was going to I for once I don't take out the scalpel. I take out a pen light and I start shining it in his eyes and like looking back and forth and trying to just gauge how his mentation
So what did
is.
you want to happen?
So I'd wanted to determine if this had reached his, like his central system. And I keep looking and looking, and I'm like, and I look back at the ticker, and I look at him, and I'm like, there's some sort of connection here, but I don't understand computers or that he's I don't know, interfaced or something with it. Some maggot hand. Jason, you understand computers? It's weird. I if I look in the back of his eyes, it's almost more like I don't know, a transistor or something. And I hand
And
the
I take the
pen
pen light over
to
and I go,
Jason.
look, Doc, I don't know how any of this works, but I bet she can help. And I hand the pen light to a nurse that is now standing next to Jim in full white scrubs with nurse shoes and a featureless face. I'm acting like it's completely, totally normal. I'm just handing her the pen going, why don't you ask your nurse?
Something. I mean, I think obviously something's right here. She takes the pen light and it just disappears into her hand, and then it appears in that featureless void just right in the forehead and starts shining into his face as it starts kind of tilting its head back and forth looking
It's
at it.
much worse than that. As the light sort of absorbs in, the pen light itself absorbs in, the beam is still shining out, and then the maw of its mouth begins to open with giant fangs as she sort of, like you were saying, teeters her head back and forth in this sort of off kilter way, and her movements are just not quite right.
You can keep the pen light.
Look, she's the first qualified person that we've met in here. She's far more qualified to help any of you.
As I see that mouth start to open, I'm gonna push her away from our scientist friend.
No, that's not so easy to do.
Of course it's not. Oh, neat. I get to, and I get mutated in a helpful way for once.
What could be more helpful than tiny mouths on your hand?
As I'm pushing this terrifying nurse-shaped being away from our scientist friend, She's much heavier than I had anticipated, but um, thankfully, a sheet of metal just slowly generates out of my forearm, and I'm able to just whack her with it a couple of times.
When you say a sheet of metal,
Yeah,
Like a shield?
like
like a shield. Yeah.
but like attached to your arm?
Yes.
Cool.
So I run over and like this whole time, everybody's reacting to her as one should, based on what she is and what she's looking like, except for me. And you knock her on the ground, and I run over and I said, "Good Lord, dear, I don't know what's happening here. We've just gotten here. Any help you can give us?" And I'm talking to her like she's just a totally normal thing, and I'm apologizing for you.
She's gonna lunge at you now.
Yeah.
All right, so who played the not so easy?
I think it was me.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I was trying to do is to comfort her and to pick her back up again, completely and totally embarrassed for how you've been treating her. So I'm going to attempt to pick her up. No, but the zone mutates you, granting a gift that might be helpful in the future. So as I'm picking her up, you guys watch as, like I cradle my arm around and like on her back where she is, and I'm kind of take my left hand on her right shoulder, and as I'm lifting her up, she just continues forward into me and just absorbs into my chest.
Oh no.
And I turn, like everything is fine, and you see me kind of turn around, and I say, "I think we're supposed to go this way." And the blue light that was in her forehead now shines from my forehead through the skin and just shines down the hallway.
Are you okay?
It's fine.
Yeah, she said we should head down the hall.
That-
No, I'm
about
telling them. I'm telling them. They're going to listen to me. Yes, I agree. She's saying we go down the hall.
Dr. Sinbis cocks his head and kind of is like, and then he kind of holds up his hand and it starts switching and he says, "No, we agree."
Oh.
I'm gonna go hang out with Dr. Cochran now.
Oh, I mean we
Old maggot.
we have to
hands.
see we have to see where this leads. Perhaps they can teach us something after all.
Yeah, I don't think we have another choice. So let's go and end this scene.
All right, so it's my turn. I'm going to start the turn. So as we step out down the hallway, we end up stepping out and leaving the office building. And my light shines down from my forehead, shines down into this clearing in the center. And as soon as this light hits this wood pyre, it immediately ignites.
Oh dang.
It starts the campfire. So I am the director. The expedition rests their weary bones. Beyond this point is the most dangerous part of the zone. 2 characters will die, but for a few hours you are safe. Go around and each share your theories about the nature of the zone. So I can feel her in me. Each of you have been enhanced. I think it's preparing us.
I don't know about that. I think
For
it's
what?
torturing us.
I feel far better prepared.
No. It's a test. It's a test. What it is, it's simple. It's simple, and I, I thought it was simple enough that all of you would have picked up on this by now, but clearly, uh, no, it's a test. It's this was put here by some intelligence, and it's meant to elevate us, to find the best of us, and bring us to them, bring us together, and it's testing us. It's just a test.
So this is some sort of ascension, basically, you think?
Well, for the best of us.
I think you may both be right.
Don't worry
Uh,
about it.
It is a test, and it is to prepare us for what I'm not sure I can say.
All right, I'm gonna have us sitting around the campfire, relaxing, discussing our theories, and we're gonna take a quick 10-minute break. We'll be back in 10 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to end our scene. And it is Jim who is the new director.
My turn. Time to move on from the campfire. You are now entering the much more dangerous part of the zone. Characters will start to meet their fate and become one with the zone. Again, let's move to the subway.
Oh,
Oh no!
oh no.
Dr. Kynes must die in the coming scene. They cannot be stopped by not so easy cards, only by another player asking to claim their fate, even after the scene is underway. After death, Jim will continue playing turns as the zone.
You're gonna kill yourself.
I'm accepting my fate.
Set the scene, Jim.
Let me read these guys real quick so I can see
Dr.
what's going on. We are in the subway. Delayed. All right, I am going to choose this one. The subway, gritty, tiled, and claustrophobic. Low ceilings hang rusting signage over overflowing trash cans. The next train delayed. The tunnels beckon. So I think as we move forward from the campfire, we see one of those sort of subway stairwells, and I think that is where the beacon light is now flashing us to go, and we begin to go down those stairs into what is this horrifically grimy sort of. It feels older than it should, given where we are in this town. Everything's just a little too small, and it's just a little on the creepier side. Let's see. Someone tries to curry favor with another. Who most wants something from another? What will you give for it? Equipment, secrets, powers? Ooh.
So I start heading down the steps, and I think, come on, she's saying we go down here. This will get us to the center faster. We're almost there. And you see me run down the steps.
Nora's just gonna sigh and follow you.
Nora, do slow down for a moment. I had a quick question for you. You've seen some of the
I've
autopsies, haven't
Seen
you?
the reports, yes.
What I feel like we got off on the wrong foot. Maybe we should be. Maybe we could talk a little bit more about these reports.
What about them? Did you not get access when they brought you on?
I think there was a mix-up in the paperwork.
I see.
I think I'm sure I was supposed to have access to it, but they didn't pass them to me. I'm sure
I'm going to say that something's not right. And as you start this sort of hushed conversation as we're moving through these tunnels, you begin to hear a bit of a chittering sound rise up through, echoing through the halls, chitter, 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 and then a bit of skittering as well. Something's coming, something's moving. It's sort of this cross between, and I don't know that it's something that anyone specifically would have heard, but it's rats or beetles or something of that nature. And there's just all sorts of, as it rises and begins to echo over the conversation.
Oh, it's worse than that, because as soon as I hear it and the other two hear it, we instinctively start walking through these tunnels faster. But Dr. Cochran stops, because the maggots are leaving your hand and they're starting to develop. And you recognize immediately, you know what's coming down because the maggots are starting to turn into these things and you're being compelled to head towards the sound. What are they turning into?
Oh, what are they turning into, Craig? I feel like they're going to be beetles of some kind is what they're going to end up turning into, and sort of shimmery and iridescent wings as they sort of, the hand sort of disappears as they slough forth, and they start moving off in that general direction, and I begin to turn and meander that way.
I'm going to take stock. So a couple details. One, I stop and turn, and the light off my forehead lights up the tunnel, and we can see Dr. Cochran now without his hand, as just these beetles are flying out of his arm, out of his wrist, and they're forming the hand until they're leaving. So we still see like the ghost of his hand, but it's just the shape of these beetles as they're flying out, and it's triggering both of your hands. So we hear the noises of these things coming from Vix's hands. The little mouths in Vix's hands start going. And
Ugh.
Corey, what's happening to your needle hand? How's your needle hand reacting?
So the needle hand suddenly sprouts. The needles start sprouting out and growing leaves on them. And then the beetles start landing on those and actually nibbling on the leaves and then swarming back and forth. And just, it seems like this is almost an important nutrient for their development.
Nora's
I don't like this.
Nora's gonna
Can we do something? Can someone please?
Nora's gonna try to pull her sleeves down to kind of muffle the sound of those mouths. Just ugh.
So as you're attempting to pull down your sleeves, it's not so easy.
Yes, but this isn't something you can do alone.
Oh, I'll help.
Yeah.
No.
The mouse and the hand trying to pull down the sleeve are just grabbing onto the material, and yeah. Ugh.
So how do you help, Jim?
So I think he sort of begins to notice that her struggle with the sleeve, and sort of absentmindedly, almost reminiscent of the nurse, tilts his head to the side, and then slowly turns back towards Nora, and walks that way. And again, that you get that jilted sort of half motion of this nurse, where it's like something's just not quite all there, and he takes his other hand, which is as we recall, not maggoty, so you're gonna be fine. And he begins to sort of put his hand over yours and sort of like covers the mouths to sort of silence them a bit, as you worked
no.
So something's not right. As he does that with his hand, actually the beetles come and start landing on the fabric of the sleeves and start grabbing it with what we now realize are surprisingly human-like mouths. They don't have the standard beetle-like mouthpieces. They've got just little tiny human jaws, and they grab it and start pulling it down to help. It seems that they've decided to help the doctor pull down the sleeves.
And of course, it's worse than that, because as the hand is starting to pull that, in the same way we saw the beetles feeding off of the now foliage that's coming from the other doctor's hands, we're now seeing the mouths on Vic's hands
Nope.
eating the beetles
Nope.
that are coming from coming
Is
from
that,
Dr.
is that an
Cochran.
actual note? Are
no.
you hitting the
No,
card?
no.
And we watch, in the way that I absorb the nurse, we watch Nora absorb Dr. Cochran one beetle at a time.
Oh, that sounds like you're going to end this scene and murder me.
Wordless screaming the entire time.
All right, I am the first player to die. I get a free not so easy card to use in Final Judgment.
Oh, God.
Go and read that, Jim.
Sure. What happens after death? Once your character dies, you transition to embodying the zone. You still take normal turns as director, use all the moves, and so on. Now is the chance to focus fully on creating the weird, magical, and horrible situations for the remaining players. Check in on their obsessions and phobias so you can incorporate them into scenes.
So we see that happen, and I immediately turn to Nora and I say, now you have a passenger like I do.
Oh, what?
Dr. Cochran, can you hear him? I can hear the nurse.
No.
No, I agree. We can't
What?
trust either of them. Nothing. No. Just nothing.
All right.
All right, Corey, you're up.
Yep.
So let's go ahead and move to the suburbs. I think I like the luxurious walled community with an ornate gate, an all-inclusive gilded fortress for the reclusive misers who could afford it. And so I think it's a little bit of a shock to us because we entered into subway tunnels and traversed this after watching Dr. Cochran forcibly meld with Nora in this dark recount, and it's bright again. It's actually it's almost as bright as when we were first almost at when we were at the boundary, and it's disconcerting that somehow a subway tunnel exits into this large McMansion neighborhood with the sprinklers are actually still running. And I think it strikes probably us that it's a little strange because they probably cut off public utilities to this area, but the sprinklers are running, and the streets are clean. They're completely clean. There would be refuse. There should be papers. There should be something in there, but there isn't.
This all got finished much faster ahead of schedule. One of my companies was building these neighborhoods, and does this mean we've left the zone? And I head right in into the gates.
This was under construction?
Yeah, I was having these built outside of Cincinnati. I don't know how we got here. And you know, before I left, the last report I got from the foreman was that they had just put down the foundations, but this is the exact community that I was having built. Real estate is very good right now. You understand that, right? You understand the amount of profit I'm about to make off of this community?
Causing a housing bubble? Yeah.
None. Nobody's going to buy
Well,
this.
yeah, because it's in the zone.
I'm not sure we're still in the zone. I was not building this obviously in the zone unless the zone is in Cincinnati.
So something's not right. That tinny ice cream truck music comes on, and now everybody hears it though. And it seems to be coming from one of the side
worse than
streets.
that. The sound of children's laughter is coming from the same direction.
Who wants ice cream?
Uh,
Ah,
not currently.
I think that sounds like a lovely that sounds like a lovely plan to me. Let's go. I think we could all use a break.
I
Don't
agree.
you?
And we turn the corner to the
Yes.
alley and we see a Good Humor ice cream truck. And I walk up and full size, we see a queue in front of the ice cream truck. And of course, they are the dolls from the pediatrician's office waiting to get ice cream. And we see one of the dolls reaching up, and another doll in a little Good Humor hat is handing over an ice cream cone. We're in a
Dr.
hurry. We're in a
Sinbis.
hurry. All of you can wait.
Sorry.
And I'm start pushing the dolls away to get us at the front of the line.
I mean, as soon as you touch a doll, right? It was a given.
Yep.
Who triggered it?
Me.
Okay.
You
So
forgot
I'm
what
trying to
happened
get
last.
I'm trying to get the dolls pushed away and to make room so that the four of us or the three of us, well, the five of us, right? Because there's there's Vic and Dr. Cocker, me and the nurse, and then Dr. Dennis.
That's
So I'm pushing that away. So my goal is to clear the queue out to get the dolls out of the way so that we can get ice cream. So my hand hits the first doll.
Oh no.
And I like my hand touches it and I stop and I turn and I can see the sewing of the Raggedy Ann hand that is now what I'm looking at. And I immediately turn to both Nora and the doctor and I grab the both of you to pull you into the line to get ice cream. And each of the arms that I grab turn into these plaids Raggedy Ann type just sewn together uh like stuffed animal hands. Come on, let's get the ice cream.
What
I'm-
did you do? What did you do? I can't perform surgery with a
you'll be
doll
fine. The nurse
hand.
says if we just eat the ice cream,
why would
then
you? Why would
everything
you
will
touch
feel
the
fine.
dolls again?
Why would you?
She's made it very clear. Let's just get the ice cream. And
So,
I start
Craig, I
handing
think
each of you a cone. Go ahead.
something's not right. And as you attempted to push these dolls out of the way, they did not get out of the way. And I think that doll that you started to push turned to you, and I think he again said something mockingly. What did he mock you about in such a way that he definitely dredged up some horrible childhood memories about his life there?
I think what the doll says to me says, once again, you're trying to claim this is your idea, but we know the nurse was telling you this. Just like throughout your entire life, nothing has been your idea, everything you have stolen. And I just back away from this doll and go, you don't know anything. You don't know anything about me. You don't know anything about what I've done, what I've accomplished, and I'm stepping away from the doll.
It's worse than that. The dolls all start chattering about all three of our shortcomings. The one is still chattering at Jason, but the others, they start turning to us and start chattering like that Dr. Sinbis, the reason that he failed as a surgeon is not that they didn't understand him. It's that he just was never good enough. And they start chattering at Nora that she'll never understand. It's outside of her understanding, and she'll never know. And they just are chattering and chattering, and it's overlapping, but we can still hear the voices. individually.
It's pretty good. You're the director, Corey.
No. I am. No. We're leaving. We don't need the ice cream. I'll do surgery with the doll arm. We're leaving. And he just stomps off in a huff.
No. And I'm going to chase after you. We don't know. She made it clear we have to have the ice cream. The nurse is being very clear.
Fine. And the doctor just stomps up as one of the dolls is being handed another ice cream, and he just grabs it and goes to hand it over to.
No. I'm sorry.
Goes to hand it to,
it's not so easy to just take the ice cream.
All right. Okay. No, but my failure brings me closer to another character. I go to grab it, and I think that's when the other two notice, as I am angrily stomping my way towards them, that the dolls kind of, their hands sort of like flop down like this, and little bony protrusions start coming out, and they start walking towards him, saying something along the lines of "no cutting in line, no cutting in line," and the other two spot this, but he is, while the doll holding the ice cream is kind of playing a can't reach it with him, and he's just sort of waving his hands trying to catch it. And I think I'm going to leave it to somebody else to rescue the doctor from getting stabbed to death by dolls.
Nora's gonna run up and grab his arm and drag him to the back of the line and just be like, "No, we're going back of the line. It's okay. We're not cutting. Promise."
I think their hands sort of flip back up, and they go back to just standing quietly in line.
The nurse says that the ice cream is they're all out. She says we gotta go.
Okay, let's leave then.
Yep.
I'm gonna go ahead and end the scene there.
All right. Let's move on to the military base since we've given up on ice cream.
So much to see.
I
in
have
the
to
suburbs.
die.
God, both times the director's been the one that draws their own card.
All right.
I think.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Did you want to claim it? I would be willing to. Okay.
All right. So describe the military base, how we get there, and what do we find?
The military base is kind of a non-realistic description of what turns out to just be field tents. Neat rows of jeeps, sandbag machine gun emplacements, but as if everyone just left, ceding to a non-existent relief force. Encounter a vision of something that used to be here, triggering a phobia. All right.
And keep in mind, Vic, if you don't like this, you see that, get a different prompt. You can hit that button if you want a different prompt if you don't like this one.
Let's go ahead and try it. Yeah, why not? Here we go. The environment itself seemed to take sides against the expedition. Let's do that.
All right, so describe what happens.
As we head down the road away from this ice cream truck, weirdly, this gated community just slowly melds into a military base. It seems like a odd placement for this base to be right next to what should have been a wealthy community. And the fact that there are machine guns is worrying, as though the people that have been here thought they might have to fight something.
Were any of the previous expeditions that went in here, nor were they military?
I think the first one might have been military, just to try to set up a perimeter, but I didn't think it was anything like this. The equipment lists certainly didn't have machine guns.
So something's not right, because as you're describing that, we start to see men come out of the tent. Green plastic army men that are full sized, but are all featureless, all one piece of green plastic with their feet attached like the children's toys. And they are leaving the tents and starting to like go to their stations within this military base.
It's worse than that, because we start hearing the sounds of more military, and we realize we are between a green army camp, and on the other side, we are apparently standing in the no man's land between the green
the
army
tan
and the
army.
tan army, and they are also gearing up.
Shit.
So I immediately, in this no man's land, I see a trench, and I start running towards the trench, and I dive into the trench, and I'm like, come on, come in. The nurse says this will be safe here.
I'm sorry, Craig.
So I start running towards the
easy.
trench. Yes, and the zone mutates you, granting you a powerful gift that the others simply won't understand. So I head towards this trench, and my blue light from my forehead is lighting the way as we head there. And we start to hear the guns firing. And as the bullets are firing, I'm directing you here. And every time I hear guns firing, I turn my head, and we see these green plastic bullets headed towards me, and they're melted by the light. So I keep turning my head every time we hear gunshots, and my light is protecting us from the bullets. So they're just melting away. Come on, we're safe. I've got this.
No, we're not safe. That's wrong. No, Nora, we pick a side and we stick to it. And Dr. Sinbis drops to a crouch and starts running towards the green army men. And he says, "Wait! I'm a medic. I can help you. Wait! Hold your fire." Yeah, I saw that one coming. So, in an attempt to get them to accept him because he thinks that they'll be the winning team, he runs toward them and says, "Wait, I'm a doctor." And there's a pause, and they quietly look at each other, and then they turn back and raise their guns. And thankfully, though, their aim is awful because they are Green Army men. They just start firing, which is helpful because behind him was one of those plastic ones that has the bayonet over his head, and goes to stab him and just gets shot apart and falls to pieces behind him. Okay, maybe we go with Musk.
So something's not right, because I'm diving and headed towards the trench. The doctor is trying to pick a side and is luckily not getting shot. But Vic, Nora is standing there, oblivious to the dangers. Unlike the doctor, unlike Musk. And I think you start walking towards one of the main gun turrets that is firing.
It's worse than that. As she approaches, she just opens her arms as though to embrace whatever comes her way. And as she moves, her movements slowly get jerkier and less in sync, much like the nurse.
So as the bullets start going through Nora's body, I think we see Nora kind of like peel off from her frame, almost like the bullets are shredding her, the clothing, but it's not just the clothing, it's Nora that's being shredded by the bullets. And before we finally see where Nora was, we realize that as that peels away, we see Dr. Cochran under the shredded away skin until he gets shredded away by the bullets as well.
And it's just a pile of beetles underneath.
Oh, yes, it's just a pile, and they just scurry off.
I think as it's being shredded off, the sound isn't what you'd expect. The sound of it coming off is more like if you just took sticks of celery and just snapped
See, I
them
thought you were
over
going to
and
go
over and
back to
over
that
again.
ice cream truck.
It
But
just
it's sort of imagine like this sort of blend of the ice cream truck and like a Too Fast Jack in the Box, right? Where it's just all sort of starts to like over itself and under itself and around itself as that sort of happens. Oh,
I like that better. Let's say that that's what happened. I like that much better. It's the tinny ice cream music. Yeah, exactly as Jim described it.
All right, director.
As this is happening,
Jason?
Nora doesn't seem to be in pain at all. In fact, she seems the happiest you've seen her on this expedition. And as she is shredded, she smiles and gives a little wave.
All right, end your turn. Okay. No, I'm going to die next because apparently whoever's turn it is. All right, decide where we're going to go. We're going to move to the theater.
No, it's not.
Oh, the trend is broken.
No. All right.
All right.
I accept this fate. Dr. Sindus
So you
is
become the director.
insufferable. Okay.
oh, I don't think I realized that the director that you automatically become the director of your death scene.
I like the gloomy multiplex one. So the gloomy multiplex surface is sticky with what you hope is just popcorn and soda. It sounds like movies are playing. We get out of the war zone, and there's as we get towards the end on the green side, we see that there's a what looks like a full-sized but toy USO booth. And we go in for cover, and it turns into the kind of multiplex with flickering lights and complete with what it says here is like crunching popcorn underfoot, and somebody spilled a drink over there. It does mention movies on there, but the weird thing is that they're movies from different time, from varying times. One of them says Casablanca, another one says Rocky, another one says it's an Avengers sequel that doesn't exist yet. It's Avengers New Moon. And so the and so we're in there. Let's see what the scene prompt is.
So I'm going to grab your arm, Doc, and I'm going to say,
I like this one.
I think this is where we're supposed to be. And I point to It's a Wonderful Life. And it's starting right now. And I bring us into the theater.
Something's not right. When you walk into the theater, what should be previews for other movies appear to be snippets from uh, Nora and Dr. Cochrane's lives.
And it's worse than that, because we're seeing different moments in your life. Like in both cases, it's the day or two before the expedition. You guys are packing your bags, you're getting ready, and it's flashing between the two scenes. And like when we see Nora packing her bag off the dresser, we see family pictures on top of the dresser, but her husband and her two boys are all pictures of Jason and Dr. Dennis. So every male role in these pictures on her dressers are me and Dr. Dennis. And then Corey, we flash over to Jim the day before, and we're seeing Jim getting ready to go. What do we see happening there?
Jim is getting ready to go, or Dr. Cochrane is getting ready to go, and he flips open one of the files that that Dr. Sinbis has been so interested in, and he pages through it, and it's an autopsy report, and he opens up another one and he looks at that one, and these all seem to be, and he's taking notes, and he's writing, um, he's writing that he's writing cherubim, and he's as he's looking at various pictures of actually what appear to be men from the previous expeditions who died upon coming out and have been autopsied, and instead of having internal organs, they've got a doll, which apparently is sort of in an inverse puppet way, um, walking the body, and then the doll, there's more, and the doll is cut open and is full of beetles, which apparently died upon leaving the zone, um, and apparently Dr. Cochrane knew about this and assumed that these were the angelic host and recognized the risk of them.
Dr. Dennis, I seem to have lost my ticket, and I really want to see this movie when it starts. Would you be willing to make a trade? No,
No,
what you don't know what I'm offering yet. You don't know what I'm
get
offering
back.
yet. I'm going to reach into my
No,
sports jacket and pull out a
get,
Nobel Prize with your name on it. A Nobel Prize in medicine. I'll trade you. I'll trade you for the ticket.
what do you? And the doctor kind of looks down and he looks at his hand and he says, well, as the kind of wooden growths are continuing to grow through it, he says, I don't have a ticket, but I do have a different kind of paper product. And he takes out the scalpel and puts his hand gingerly on the one of the chairs, and he says, I've done this plenty of times, it'll be fine, and starts to cut before it I think the camera cuts away from him removing his hand.
Oh
And
no.
as you do that, I'm just going to. Oh, not so easy.
I'm
Who
sorry.
triggered
It's
it?
not so easy to just cut off your
Yeah.
hand, sir.
That's
Yeah, I figured that. Um, okay, yeah, this is great. He cuts it off. He's cutting, and it's weird is that there's like a sappy thing, and he's kind of like, oh, this isn't as painful, and it's much easier than I thought it would be, and it comes off, and he's kind of like looks at it and he's surprised, and the hand then pops up, and then two little eyeballs sprout out of it, and then from the fingers, dagger like the dagger like wooden extrusions come out, and the socket opens up into a mouth that starts chattering about all of our favors again, and it starts skittering and leaping off of the walls, and seems to be rather enjoying itself. And it jumps, digging its nails straight into the doctor's back, and then hops off again. Son of a, where is that thing?
Doctor,
Jason,
I don't.
did
But
you see where it went?
I've seen this movie. I don't need to watch it. I don't need to watch it. This is still yours, and I set the placard, the Nobel Prize for Medicine on the on one of the chairs, and I start to walk away saying, "Look, Doc. You're welcome to stay for the movie. I'm not going to watch this. I've seen this movie before."
The doctor kind of looks at him and kind of just trying to decide whether or not to stick with the obviously insane man. And he grabs the Nobel Prize, and he flips it over to see what the inscription is, and it unfurls to be another one of those things that just goes straight into his face. And
Okay.
cut to black for the doctor.
Oh, let's see. I will start the turn. Oh
Let's
gosh,
go to the center.
Let's move to the center. Okay. Am I reading that?
You are.
I can't move. The entrepreneur is at the center. Here at the heart of the zone, the entrepreneur will finally be able to express the wish that brought them all this way. What will the zone do with that wish? That's for everyone else to decide using the not so easy cards gathered on this journey. Only Craig can move into the center.
Okay, the lone survivor has made it to the legendary center of the zone. First, define the center together. Is it staggeringly beauty, incomprehensible horror, alien strangeness, or something else? So, seeing the horrors of the last death, I immediately exit back into the theater, and everything is brand new, pristine. The theater has not even opened yet. It's just finished construction. And I step outside the theater, and everything is brand new. So this kind of strip mall area, I could see the suburb area before. Everything I'm imagining is just pristine and beautiful and untouched. So those are my details. Vic, what are your details?
Despite how mundane everything appears to be, brand new, clean, kind of what you would expect from a shopping center, beyond that part, it's very weird. The sky is not quite the right color. You're not sure if the light is coming from a sun or if there is a sun here. Um all any of the plant life just doesn't look quite right.
Corey, what details do you want to add?
Within this area, you see swooping and bobbing are more of those lights that we saw at the boundary. And here they seem to consume and then almost vomit up the light. They swoop the colors. They swoop in and everything kind of goes sepia, and then vomit it out. And it's almost like the contrast is almost like the Wizard of Oz, because it is so just so contrasting that one section is gray brown, and then the other section is bright and too vibrant, and they just cycle through, suck up the color, and then vomit it back out.
Vic stole my answer. So I think it's definitely beautiful. But like she said, everything's sort of just, like the angles in here aren't quite right. But it's definitely it's appealing to you for sure. And I think in your ears you begin to hear almost a version of that music, but not that same hectic version. It's a much more peaceful, sort of calming version of what is that ice cream truck melody, but still sort of broader and more spaced, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Where it becomes beautiful in its own way.
Can I add just one detail that instead of that tinny ice cream truck sound, it's actually symphonic, right? Actually
Right,
being played by
yeah.
strings
Right,
and
right. But
horns
it's
and everything.
that same melody,
Right,
but
right.
without the tinniness.
All right. So you are the director. It's almost time for you to express your wish. The center part 2. Craig, you came into the zone driven by an obsession, which was longevity, the one thing you can't buy, more time. Do a short flashback about the origin of this obsession. Does it still drive your wish? Then describe how the zone tells you that it's ready to hear this wish. So we're going to flash back to when Jason started his path to collecting as much wealth as he could. And everybody knows my career. I have what I couldn't have, I bought or stole. And I would dismantle companies that challenged me. I would buy them and dismantle them. I was just a ruthless business person. And what we understand now and what we see now is that we flash back to when he's a teenager in a trailer park. And me desperately trying to explain to my alcoholic father that we've got to buy mom the more medicine. If she doesn't have the medicine, she's not going to make it. And his inability to support us, him choosing the drink over us ultimately led to her death and his death. And that's when I decided that at no point was I not going to be able to get what I wanted and what I needed. And I was not going to fall to the same fate as my parents. So I then, so that's the short flashback. Then describe how the zone tells you that it's ready to hear this wish. So I say out loud to my father, I'm never going to be, I'm never was going to allow this to happen to me. I'm always going to have the resources that I need to survive and to flourish. All right. So what is the entrepreneur's wish? Okay. So my wish is that I become the center of the zone and I now control it and absorb whatever I need. Then I'm going to click here to start the zone's judgment. It's not so easy. The zone players, you are now on the other side of the not so easy. Go ahead, Corey. Oh, oh,
Oh, I have to do a thing. I didn't get to read what it was.
yeah. Can we go back?
I
All right.
don't know.
Because I think because you have the most, you actually get to make the decision in some way. But we each give you a card to influence.
Yes, and it looks like you pick a card. Yes. Yeah.
Do that.
All right. And Corey, do you have a choice of between your
Oh,
cards?
so I've got words, right?
I
It says
think I need
describe
Vic's
your suggestion
suggestion.
for what will happen with the wish.
Oh,
So-
okay. So you do the final. So Jim, you start.
So I have a no and is what I have as
Oh.
Words happened. He's a clicker.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
All right. So Corey, you get the most
Oh.
not so easy cards while alive.
Okay, I'm sorry.
You choose
I'm
the
sorry.
zone's final judgment. Jim and Vic, you'll influence the final judgment by giving Corey one of your not so easy cards and suggestions, possible ways this might go. Okay. Now we'll start the judgment. I got it.
Okay. Oh, we did get to go back. That was good. No, you're good, man.
Okay, I apologize. All right.
All right. So
Go to
Jim.
judgment.
So can everybody can see this, right? That I've
Yeah.
added a no
Yeah.
and.
So my wish is that I become the center of the zone. I now control and absorb whatever I need. And what's your no and?
And I think my no and is that you don't become the center of the zone, but the zone does absorb you in its own way and sort of, spreads you forth throughout what is almost the exact opposite, right? Where you now you split almost as into as tiny particles as possible, and are now spread out to be every other aspect of the zone except the center.
All right. And then Vic.
I'm not seeing.
I think we might. Oh, is that for me to click? There we go.
There we go. I'm going to say yes, but yes, but the zone stays in the same place. It can't move and it can't expand. So as you absorb those resources, they slowly deplete and eventually it will cease to be.
Oh, this is tough. Those are both really good options. I feel like the happier ending would be if the zone ceased to exist, and so I'm going to stick with Jim's no and.
No, you got. There you go. All right. So finish it off.
So it seems like the it seems like maybe your wish was granted because the orbs stop. Those orbs, and they start circling you and then just suck into you. And and there's a bright flash and suddenly you're outside again. And you're not at the center of the zone anymore. But you do feel something and you pull it out and it's your tooth. But as you pull it out, it grows little legs and it turns into one of the little beetles and flies away. And then oh, that's another one. And it turns into a beetle and flies away. And slowly Jason starts coming apart, turning into the beetles with the aim to expand the zone. if Vic or Jim have any
No, I
details
think
they'd like
that's-
to add, I would
that's
love to hear.
almost
their thoughts
exactly what I envisioned to happen there.
As you basically come apart and expand out to the edges of the zone, you notice another group of 4 close by. Just your consciousness notices this, and it spreads throughout the rest of the zone. Preparing.
Yeah, and I think the epilogue is that'd be the 15th expedition starts to enter. My desire for control and to, absorb anything that I need is denied, and I am strictly at the whim of this next expedition, and everything I am there to serve and to suffer as they go through the expedition. And the worst part is this one is successful and they bring the end of the zone, which means brings the end of me. All right, so that was the zone. That was a ton of fun. Like I mentioned, Raftamiko made this. It's wonderful. You can just go to play.thezonerpg.com and you can play with a group anytime you want, and then keep your eyes open for the Kickstarter when that comes out here and hopefully in the next couple months. Vic, I have a random question generator that I always ask at the end of every stream. So just give me a second. Let me see what comes up. Interesting. Somewhat close to what I do. Is there a particular podcast for somebody who is maybe interested in exploring different miniature games? They're tired of playing Warhammer 40K. They would love to learn about maybe much better designed games out there. Is there any podcasts we can recommend to anybody watching?
Well, there is a podcast that I am on that focuses mostly on the lore and fluff and fun things about the miniatures game Malifaux, which is notably better than Warhammer. So you could definitely listen to Steam Powered Scoundrels. Along with the podcast, we are doing a Bonanza Brawl at Gen Con if you're going to be there. So if you want to show up or sign up, if you want to sign up to do that, you get to meet everybody on the podcast because we're all going to be there. And we can tell you more about how Malifaux is superior to Warhammer in every way.
And are you guys going to have the cards, the Bonanza Brawl cards?
Yes. Yeah, Weird's actually printing out a deck.
Are they really?
For
That's
very cool.
awesome. That's awesome.
To use at the event, obviously, not to sell.
Right,
But-
right. No, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. Well, guys, I appreciate it. We're going to go to credits, and for everybody watching, thanks so much. Make sure you go to check out the zone yourself. Give it a run with your friends, and we'll talk to everybody later. Take care.